Ad Astra is a film about Roy McBride, a successful astronaut, and son of Clifford McBride, one of the most famous astronauts, who disappeared when Roy was a child in the Lima Project, a project he led to seek out other life forms. When Earth is struck by power surges which transmit from the Lima Project, Roy is sent out to make contact with his father. One of the most significant aspects of the film is its use of color to convey emotions and moods. In the film, color is utilized to convey Roy's emotional development throughout the film. The film starts off on Earth, where Roy is introduced as stern and gloomy. The colors and tones are all high temperature and are mostly greens and blues, reflecting Roy's loneliness and his compartmentalization of emotions. The color has a sterile aspect to it as well, much like Roy. In his room, he has blue tones as well as dark contrasting shadows emphasizing a silhouette, as he ponders how he pushed his wife out of his life. Later, when he arrives on the moon, the tones remain green and blue, as he is still unaware of the developments of the mission. Later in the film, as Roy is alone in the spaceship to reach his father, blue is also the primary color, signifying emotional reflection and sadness as he has been alone on the ship for a long time. A film which uses a similar color palette is The Arrival. When the viewer is introduced to Louise, we see she lives a somber and empty life. The tonal range, such as cool blues and greens, all help emphasize her loneliness and lack of emotion, similar to Roy's character. As Roy reaches his second stop, Mars, on his way to his father, the film starts using red and orange tones. This partially has to do with staying authentic to their environment, as Mars is seen as the red planet. But the color also reflects an emotional development in the film. When red is introduced, Roy begins to question Spacecom's intentions, and under red-orange lighting, he goes off script as he is trying to communicate with his father through a heartfelt speech. It is also the first time that in the film that we hear Roy's character speak so emotionally. In 2001, A Space Odyssey, Stanley Kubrick uses the color red often. It's the color of the molecule-like chairs in the space station, various parts of the spacecraft, and Hal's omnipresent eye and his data storage. In this very sterile, quiet, and lifeless place, the color red feels out of touch. It's the color of blood. It's passionate and loud and messy. The red shows the viewer that Hal's strong feelings can be considered human frailty in the form of his aggressive tendencies. This humanizes him in the viewer's eyes. Similarly, the red in Ad Astra begins the transition of Roy's cool demeanor into him opening up and accepting his vulnerability. The color yellow is used whenever significant information is revealed. The continuous use of this color suggests to the viewer that a change is about to happen. But yellow is also used when Roy is in extremely emotional situations. For example, when Helen Lantos reveals that his father killed everyone on board of the Lima Project, including her parents, because they wanted to return home. When Roy learns of this, the room changes into different shades of white and yellow, emphasizing the chaos in his mind as well as the anger he feels inside. Later in the film, when Roy is on his way to hijack the spacecraft to Neptune, the sun's yellow and orange hues become symbolic for his determination to confront his father and end the surges. As Roy enters the Cepheus, the Lima Project, the ship is covered in yellow light, suggesting to the viewer that something significant is about to happen. When Roy is reunited with his father for the first time in over 40 years, a yellow backlight is used, signifying that everything he has felt and gone through has led him to this moment. Similar to Ad Astra in Blade Runner 2049, the color yellow appears whenever important information is revealed. The first thing you see is that Sapper Morton goes through a yellow door and then the yellow flower that Kay picks up when he finds the remains of a replicant that died at childbirth, all giving the viewer a subconscious connotation with the color as the plot progresses. Roy and his father share an intimate moment in a yellow light surrounded by blue lighting. Here the colors serve to distinguish the cold and isolation that both him and his father faced for years, to the warmth and love between father and son in this short but sincere moment. The color yellow has transitioned from a color of chaos and determination to a color of warmth and love. In Todd Phillips' Joker, the colors blue and yellow contrast as Arthur goes through crises. The film is about the opposite ends of the spectrum, the duality of people, their shadows, and their lights. By placing these contrasting colors together in a frame, they reflect what is going on internally with Arthur and create a separation. Ad Astra's use of color to develop Roy's character and reveal a vulnerable side to him strengthens the movie's emotional journey and goes to show how much color can influence an audience's perception and experience of a film.